Thank you very much, Shocks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to MSI tonight after our last day of the group stage and, of course, our final tiebreaker, as we just saw. Fnatic almost losing their opportunity to make it to the knockout stage earlier today. They're gifted the chance to come up against the NA squad, and they absolutely decimate them to secure that fourth and final spot.
Huge redemption story, frankly, for Fnatic, and especially for their AD carry and Rekkles finally grabbing the Lovers duo, echoing some of what Papa Smithy was talking about, seeing that incredible Xayah performance, and Rekkles finally stood up and delivered to his European fans.
Yeah, he played incredibly well, and for North America, once again, we find the way to get the maximum possible amount of disappointment.
I, for one, was heavily entertained.
Yeah, I mean, you can see in the game it was a different-looking Fnatic.
Yeah.
I know Rekkles probably had to absorb more criticism than any other player in the tournament, specifically for his champion pool. So pulling out the Xayah Rakan in the last game is a good sign for their progression in this tournament. But man, for Team Liquid, it's the international tiebreakers that just keep destroying North America. We keep thinking about it all the way back to 2014 when Cloud9 was trying to play Najin. In that tiebreaker, they lost for first place in the group. It just keeps happening. You can go through it.
But that's
really
what these
painful.
big tournaments come down to, right? Is stepping up in pressure moments.
Clutch.
And at the end, being clutch. And at the end of the day, it's the EU team, and history has shown that NA is not, at least not yet, capable of
100%.
stepping up in those pressure moments.
Completely so, and what kind of kills me, in watching this game is seeing, the Team Liquid that I predicted was not the Team Liquid we saw, and I'm not even talking about individual mistakes. I'm talking purely about the draft, right? Yes, it does come down to pressure, and everything inside the game, and they kind of failed there too, but it felt like we saw, hey, 1-3-1, these split push style teams, picking for lane for impact does not work. Team Liquid are like, yep, all right, we're going to go to this, mid lane wave clear. We're going to have, a solid tank at the top lane for impact, both in NALCS and here. That is what has worked for them. So to see the game with all the marbles on the line here, Vladimir as a counter pick in lane was really shocking for me, and I was very disappointed also in Impact's play in that final game.
Yeah, and there's two sides to every coin as well. I'm impressed by Fnatic's ability to be resilient after losing to EVOS a couple hours before they had to play the tiebreaker game.
Right.
Feeling crushed, like they could have had it in their hands, like they wouldn't even have to play Team Liquid. And also, we see this at MSI now. No one has ever finished a group stage better than 8-2. And 4-6 has always gotten you at least a tiebreaker for the group stage. When you have an elite tournament like this, with the very best team from every single region, it can make very good teams look bad.
Yeah.
And North America is the victim of this very often because they are not up to par when compared with the top teams from these other regions, especially in clutch situations. But to their credit, they did make it very close after the 1-5 start.
Yeah, very much so. Of course, we're waiting to hear who RNG will select, but we've been kind of throwing around the idea that it seems pretty obvious they would have picked the winner of this game itself.
And I think a huge issue is kind of going back to the idea consistency. When I think about the Western teams and their international performances, you still do have those bright flashes in the pan. But it's the inability to chain them together and consistently front a very solid performance. And unfortunately, I think, again, that was just another trend at this MSI, but that doesn't mean that the talent's not there. It's just if it's a mental block, if it's an emotional thing, if it's communication, or even just something as simple as draft, you guys have the talent. You can see that in players like Doublelift and Caps. Just get it to consistently perform or consistently get on the right foot.
The thing is, it's more than just talent, right? As we have seen, I won't argue that there is, a lot of talented players in the NALCS, in the ULCS, but, speaking about NA in particular, you have to think, it's to draft, it's to mental fortitude, it's to, how clutch are you, can you deal with the pressure? Like, there's so many different factors that come into it, and, it's not just about how good are you in the comfort of your own home, playing, with no pressure on the line. These players look very different, right? It's very easy to say, oh, well, Olay doesn't normally play like that, NA is much better than this, they would normally win that game, or whatever, but that's how he played in this game, and that is what you have to kind of work with, right? Because it's not that same game when there's so much pressure on the line.
Yeah, and with Team Liquid being out of the tournament now, we're going to have more time to talk about Fnatic as they move on to Paris and most likely play RNG. I do want to kind of reflect a little bit on what Team Liquid has been like as a team. In the North American LCS, they had struggles when they played compositions like this one, and they honed in specifically on bottom lane priority team compositions with CC from other roles. Now, Doublelift talks about wanting to win Worlds. And I don't think you're going to win Worlds playing that one-dimensionally, so I understand the way they want to diversify their strategy a little bit. And I think for them going forward, it stings terribly right now. This is just a reminder of all of the bad feelings of the past. But this was also better than the past, right? It wasn't because Doublelift flashed forward in a really dumb situation and threw away a goal lead against Samsung. It was actually hard carrying a game against Flash Rules even to force this. And as they move into the summer split, I would like to see them just make their strategy slightly more flexible, but not change the goal of it. We know Doublelift, and I think he proved in this tournament, he can be a world-class international AD carry.
Right.
And you just need to get a little bit more out of those other positions.
Would it be fair to say that RNG is somewhat an example of a team that Team Liquid wants to grow into? Because it seems
I think so.
The way that RNG's been playing to some degree is fairly one-dimensional. It's all about putting, you know, resources into Uzi and protecting him, except for they have maybe 12 different looks.
It's like,
to do that.
Exactly. You're this narrow or you're this narrow.
Right.
there is still a difference in having a little bit of flexibility.
Right. And if we talk about, you know, the importance of stepping up and being, you know, an MVP style player, it is a guy like Uzi that you're looking at. When it comes down to, they were in a pressure situation as well today. Granted, not the same one. It wasn't to get into the knockout stage. They similarly had pressure on their shoulders today to try and secure that top seed. And you could see it. In all of these games, Uzi saying, hey, no problem. I'll step up and carry this, no problem. If you guys do what's necessary to keep me protected, I will win this game for you.
But that's actually only a recent development from Uzi. I understand that the international lens sees him make all of these world finals and really show up on an international stage. You know, supposedly they're the LPL team that really rise to the occasion. But Uzi himself has said in interviews, I got to sit down with him, you even heard it from the RNG members when they were interviewed, that their biggest enemy is themselves. That there is, or there was, a mental block. Uzi talks about his emotions, how they put him into a haze, and sometimes when he would see that lead get away from him, he would let go. He would go for the Ash picks instead of stepping up and saying, no, give me the Vayne, give me these champions that I'm famous for and carry. But this is why Uzi is so terrifying right now, because he finally won his LPL championship, and all of that momentum and that confidence is what you're seeing being played on the international stage today.
And I liked Papa Smithy talking about trust falls, because there were many trust falls between Ming and Uzi, which they nailed, right? The support, taking Ash arrows exactly when you need to. They're both going in together. And for Rekkles and Hill is saying as well, they wavered throughout the tournament, but right at the end, it felt like they did come together again. And right at the end, it felt like Doublelift and Ole fell apart. Like, that's been such a dicey relationship for them that's been hot and cold. And unfortunately for them, it ended on a cold note.
And I have to say, you know, like, while it was the duo that failed inevitably, you know, a lot more of that is on Ole's shoulder for me, at least in this particular game. You know, I thought he had a very lackluster performance. His Devourers were either not there or poorly timed. You know, some of his Tahm Kench ultimates were very questionable. But at the end of the day, you know, Fnatic is the victor, and I think deservedly so. And it's about the team play for them, right? You know, at the end of the day, there was a lot of focus on this. You know, Caps has to carry. You know, forget about Rekkles. Rekkles is not going to be able to do it. He's not performing. Yes, Caps is enabling him, but Fnatic has not lost confidence in their AD carry at any point throughout this tournament. They have allowed him to pick what he wants to pick. They have allowed him to play what he wants to play. And here, in the biggest moment, you know, he's on the Xayah, and they enable him. They put him ahead, and he's able to really pay back that confidence and that faith that they have in him.
Yeah, and I also want to credit Whippo in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I agree, Broxa, he's also been to an international tournament before.
Oh, I get it.
Whippo played like 6 or 7 games. There's so many teams where if your veteran top laner like Soaz breaks his hand or has a cast on and can't play for a month, and it's like, oh yeah, the sub top laner, he's just going to be at MSI. Like, the fact that we didn't even have that conversation, the fact that we weren't saying, wow, Whippo is the reason Fnatic's losing, and the fact that, like, that was never the excuse or the scapegoat.
Yeah,
when Fnatic was struggling, they were talking about Rekkles. Really, what he did was pretty remarkable. There's 2 top laners that did this, Hanami and Whippo, this tournament. Really impressed by their ability to stand up under pressure.
Experience is a discussion we can continue having. I'm going to jump in here, though, because to get our matchups for the semifinals, let's go to the main stage where Shox is ready with Uzi and Sword Art.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, we are finally going to find out what our semifinals in Paris are going to look like, as our first seed, RNG, gets to choose between Kingzone and Fnatic who they would like to face. So first, I want to welcome our second seed and our first seed out of the group stage to the stage, Uzi from RNG and Sword Art from the Flash Wolves. Now this is the moment Uzi and RNG have decided who they want to play in the semifinals. Uzi, who do you want to play?
Fnatic.
Fnatic will go up versus RNG. You can go over to your competitor and Sword Art. This means that the Flash Wolves will go up versus Kingzone. You can stand next to Gorilla. And these are our matchups for the semifinals, so I immediately want to get a reaction. Caps, I talked to you just 5 minutes ago. You said, hey, it's going to be RNG. What do you make of the fact that it is now going to be RNG? Are you feeling more hopeful?
So this is actually our second best of 5 against NG, and last time we weren't able to pull out the wins, but we were able to get some early game leads. So hopefully we have improved since then, and we can snowball on our leads.
Are you confident you can win?
I'm confident we will show up, put up a fight.
Confident that you can put up a fight. I also have to go to the other side. Gorilla, you will be going up against Sword Art and the Flash Wolves, who gave you a rough time in the group stage. What are your thoughts towards that matchup?
준결승전에 Flash Wolves을 만나게 됐는데 어떤 생각이신가요?
일단 그룹 스테이지에서 저희가 2대0으로 좋은 모습을 보여드리지 못했는데 일단 상대가 누구든 간에 일단 저희의 폼을 최대한 끌어올려서 비록 이제 FW를 만났지만 꼭 좋은 경기력으로 다시 찾아뵙고 싶습니다.
So even if I've lost our 2 games against Flash Wolves during the group stage, we will pull out our performance, our usual performance again to show you our best form during the semifinals.
Okay, we will be looking forward to it. We'll get a reaction from the other members as well later. But for now, give it up for your semifinals. Flash Wolves versus Kingzone and Fnatic versus RNG.
There you have them, our semi-final matches as predicted. We've got, of course, RNG versus Fnatic and then Flash Wolves versus Kingzone. I want to start with RNG versus Fnatic. This is a rematch from Worlds in which Fnatic was knocked out in that best of 5.
And there is a bit of a tension. Chinese fans all the way going back, when they refer to Fnatic, because there was the old Fnatic taking down Edward Gaming with the deft performance there, playing the teleport Jace. So there's always kind of been this animosity almost, that if it's an LPL team going toe-to-toe with Fnatic, that a little bit of the pressure is on. I know it's a rematch. It went in favor last time with RNG, but it is very fun for the fans.
I mean, come on, we could see some trepidation there in Caps' face as he was mustering the confidence to say, we'll put up the best fight we can.
I mean, RNG is definitely terrifying, but one thing I will say is a pretty big difference from how Fnatic looked at Worlds versus how they have looked here. I would say the single player in this tournament whose stock in my eyes has risen during this tournament the most is Caps, right? This guy has been an absolute monster. You know, even if he is not the tournament MVP, that's probably Uzi for me. I would say that the level of performance that he has brought to this tournament has been incredible. Yes, he had an off game or two, but his highs have been so incredibly high. And I think against a team like RNG, you need a difference maker like Caps to really stand a chance. And if you can't win that bot lane 2v2, hey, maybe Caps on Talia can slide on down there and change things up.
Yeah, and I like how they sent Caps out there instead of Rekkles as well, because I really feel like he was their main carry this tournament so far. And of all of the teams in the knockout stage, they're the ones that got there without monumental performances from their AD carries in a lot of games. Uzi was all about him. When Kingzone was winning, it was all about Prey. But to Frost Current's point, I do think it's interesting. Last year at MSI, it was actually G2 versus Team WE in the semifinals. The regional matchups of the semifinal is identical to last year. So I think we're still in for some pretty entertaining games.
There's a ton of history here. There's absolutely a ton of history here. And if we look at the other semifinal matchup, we got the Flash Wolves against Kingzone. It was already mentioned by Shocks that this was the 2-0 that Flash Wolves had in the group stage already over Kingzone.
The Korean killers.
International history, it goes back as well to the last time we were in Europe, where Flash Wolves was in the group with the Rocks Tigers, which, by the way, was Sword Art and Maple on that team against Prey and Gorilla in the bottom lane. And they beat them twice. And then you go back to this group stage, they beat them twice more. Hey, that's the best of 5, man. It's not quite that simple. It's definitely not quite that simple.
So there it is. All right, so then we only have to play one semifinal.
There's a level there where you can actually be a little bit concerned. And I'm more concerned now for Kingzone than I was for SKT when SKT went 6-4.
Wow.
How can we say that it's still Yes, I understand it, but I'm
more concerned.
Okay,
I'm
more
careful
concerned.
with my language.
Khan has been bad at this tournament compared to his regional performance.
3 out of 10. Solid 3 out of 10.
Yeah, and Cuz was not their best jungler. He's played the last 3 games. Will it be Cuz? Will it be Peanut? Also, the last time we had a Korean team go 6-4, we finished group stage on a Sunday. This time it's on a Tuesday. And I want to see the schedule. Seriously, you're saying the Korean teams are going to retool and relearn the meta. 2 days versus 4 days with the travel day in between is a lot less time.
Yeah.
So and they clearly don't have together. They actually ended pretty poorly.
There's a whole lot that goes into it, but we got 2 semifinal matchups that are completely wrapped in history. To hear more about the draw, let's send it over to Shox, who's standing by with Uzi.
Thank you very much indeed with Uzi, who picked Fnatic, which was not the biggest surprise out of the choices available. Uzi, you did have the upper hand over Fnatic now here at the group stage, as you did at Worlds. Do you think Fnatic will be able to put up a bit better of a fight in the best of 5 versus you guys this time around?
那么我们现在看到你选择了 Fnatic 这支战队，那么你们之前和他们在世界赛也好，在这届 MSI 也好交战都是有优势的。那你觉得现在你们和 Fnatic 在 BO5 交手，他们会不会有拿出更好的表现来应对你们？
就是因为之前我们很多的都是和 Fnatic 去打世界赛嘛，所以说我们可能更了解他们一点，所以说也很期待他们有新的东西吧。
So it's a really familiar opponent for us. We play so many times and we know them really well. I hope they can bring up a fight.
We will see what happens. Uzi, you came as a champion from the LPL for the very first time. You're #1 in the group stage. You got to pick your own opponent. It looks like the stars are really lining up. Are you starting to believe that this could be the moment that you step up and take that international title at MSI?
那么你今年也拿了 LPL 的冠军，然后你 MSI 也是小组第1，然后你有主动的选择权去选择你的对手，所以你现在会觉得你离自己第1个世界比赛的这个冠军会比较近吗？
我觉得我准备好了，我也觉得冠军在等着我。
So I'm ready. I'm waiting for the champion. Championship is waiting for me.
Fantastic championship waiting for Uzi. One final question. The other semifinal is now Kingzone versus Flash Wolves, because of your doing, because you sent Flash Wolves towards Kingzone. What is your prediction for that match?
那么接下来另外一组的对手是 KZ 和 Flash Wolves。那你觉得那组的胜者会是谁？
其实我觉得两个队都有可能获胜吧，而且我很期待他们的比赛，所以说我。 很希望看到他们两个队的比赛，对。
I think both teams have a chance to win, and I'm really looking forward to their match. Like I'm actually gonna watch their games.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Uzi. Congratulations, RNG absolutely on fire, and you heard it from the man. He's ready. Back over to you guys.
Thank you, Shox. An incredible amount of deserved confidence coming out of Uzi here as he still searches for his first international title.
Yeah, that is the difference between Uzi last year and Uzi this year. I've never heard him give that forward of an answer. You know, I hope they put up a fight against us. I'm actually going to watch the opponent's game, so a lot of momentum behind him.
Well, we've seen incredible plays throughout this group stage. In our next segment, we honor the unsung heroes of the MSI group stage. Sometimes it's not about getting the kills, but being able to say, I'm helping. Kingzone's Gorilla proved this as he used his teleport and ultimate to set up the play. Let's take a look. Brought to you by State Farm.
Here comes the Abyssal Voyage. And now it's 4 on top of less. This could be an easy one. The flash forward, near sight of kill comes through, and Uzi has nowhere to go. Khan shows up, TP's in just to say, hello, I am here. I'd like a bit of XP, and that turret is going to fall.
And honestly, that entire composition was just so sick to watch. Yeah, Gorilla used the cool teleport, TPing to mid, gobbling up, and then carrying his carry down bottom. But there was TP tops, there was TP bottoms, and it was one of the first times that we really got to see a 4 TP squad make work.
Yeah, I mean, we showed up to this tournament, and then all of a sudden there's TPs on Ezreal's. We've got the spellbook supports. I mean, the meta in and of itself has been so surprising to watch evolve throughout the entirety of the tournament so far.
I just got to say, we've gotten so many of the things I feel like I've heard people asking for a long time. We've had these aggressive picks. We've gotten lots of Yasuo. We've gotten carry tops. We've gotten carry junglers. We've gotten, new stuff in the bottom lane, this TP Ezreal, the double tier build. Like, it has been an extremely cool tournament to watch.
Now, throughout the group stage, we've seen the very best of League of Legends. Let's take a look at the main highlights in our Acer Big Plays. First up, RNG star 80 carry Uzi showed some quick reflexes against Kingzone. The Tact Zero used big words to describe the play, saying Uzi's footwork is godlike.
It's going to be bottom lane. Gorilla going in onto Uzi, dropping the Ignite, able to find the initiation. Uzi with an expert dodge to get away. as Ming gets out as well.
So you can see that Gorilla has the ulti, he has the flash and W engage. Ming knocks Prey away to mitigate as much damage as possible, and here, the ulti onto Gorilla, and then flash misplay from Prey, but also a good dodge from Uzi.
I mean, that play, I feel like, is when Uzi really started to show up at MSI. He was in potentially losing matchup. Because he was able to stay alive in that play, it allowed him to hit his item power spikes and really take over that game. And there was no looking back after that. He was undefeated.
Ultimate. A ton of tremendous outplays using that Kai'Sa ultimate throughout the tournament. Next up, Fnatic's jungler became the big hero for his team as he managed to secure 2 Baron steals against Flash Wolves. At Sayway767 tweeted, Broxa, he'll steal your girl and your Baron.
Want to try to shut him down. Baron down to about 1K. Where's it gonna go? They got it for Fnatic!
Holy shit. Nice. Big nerd as well. Holy shit, Brox, you're fucking smurfing, by the way.
We'll see if he can pull it off here again. TP coming in. Flash Wolves looking to... Oh, man! He does it! Brox are the hero of Fnatic!
Thank you. Nice. Holy shit. I can make the B. I can make the B. You're actually just carrying us. As always. Yeah.
I mean, you heard it from the teams themselves. Broxa is smurfing, carrying us as always. We talked about consistency and clutch moments. He's the unsung hero of Fnatic.
Yeah, without a doubt, plenty of smite steals coming in throughout the group stages. Finally, one player that stepped up in the group stage was Flash Wolves top laner Hanabi. Let's take a look at his insane Yasuo play during a key team fight versus Kingzone.
The great devour from Swordite keeps his AD carry. Yasuo gets away. Yasuo in the front line gets 2, and it's a great fight for Flash Wolves.
Blanks around right behind them. They're able to get the huge knockup that is triggering the Yasuo. Actually, Hanabi got his own knockup right there. He had charged it off the minions and got it onto the priority targets.
I mean, this was just insane. Not only just this play, but the fact that, you know, coming into this tournament, Khan's supposed to be unmatched top laner in these carry matchups, and he picks the Yasuo into him. He blasts Kingzone with it. It was just incredible to watch.
Ultra impressive performance. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got coming up for the knockout stage in Paris. On Friday, it's a rematch of the World's quarterfinals between Fnatic and RNG, followed by Flash Wolves versus Kingzone on Saturday. The day after, we'll crown our MSI champions as we close out the knockout stage in the Zenith Arena. We've already teed up the matchup, so we're not going to do any more. So now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on Friday for more MSI 2018. Good night.
Here comes a heroic entrance, and Gorilla escapes with his life. Caps gets 1, for 2. Oh, Caps' Yasuo is beautiful. Flashes in for the parlay, but it's not a parlay he's looking for. It's the death of Fnatic, and Kingzone crush Fnatic to qualify for the semifinals. Oh, that is actually disgusting damage. But with the Void Star from Namikaze, are you kidding me? Uzi sends his regards. RNG qualify for the semifinals in Paris. He's turning one back. Double lift. Gets feasted with the shield. The heals. He survives. That's a double kill. Chasing all the way forward. It's a triple kill.
Right here, Slingshot's coming over. Not going to find the knockups just yet. Windwall gets rid of some of what Muja wants to do and pulls him back in. Ashero's going to land, though, and it stops him in his tracks. Push them right back in. Uzi's been massive on his own right. Here we are. 30 seconds in. First place tiebreaker. And they might get one Drowsy, not just yet. They've got Sword Art, the barrier pop, and the kill comes through. In the back lane going to fall. That's Graves. Evaporated one. They're going to look for the second. They've got that a double for Uzi. Looking for number 3. He's going to find it. Can he get more? They'll never give up. Make the run through the back half of the group stage. They will claim the #1 seed, crushing Flash Wolves under their heel. He's got to respect the damage output. They've got Whippo in their sights. He flashes, and he cannot get it. First blood. But he's got to respect Caps. The flash forward. The damage might just be there. Double. Does finally get one, but Impact needs another, or it's going to be all for nothing. This could be the fight that sends Fnatic to the top 4. Impact taking down a double for Rekkles. They will extinguish Team Liquid's hope. Fnatic make it to the top 4. They're going to Paris.